Recording's up now. So here's essentially the image. Are you familiar with the terms dive, brawl, and spam?
Only dive.
Only dive. Okay, all good. So dive. If you're familiar with dive, you're probably familiar. You've been playing the game since the start, so you're probably familiar. That's probably like your diva, monkey, Genji, tracer. It's your fast-moving characters, right? And then supports that can keep up with that. So Kiriko, Ana, Mercy, Zenyatta that can kind of keep up with it a little bit. So that sort of thing. As a team composition, they're going to start off far away. They're going to dive in close at a very rapid pace. And then their pacing throughout the fight, it can kind of differ. Sometimes you can play really, really quickly with a dive and go for like a hard dive. But then other times you kind of just poke around until you find an opportunity, like you get a kill or ults, and then you go in really hard. Now, brawl and spam compositions, these are the three main team compositions that have always existed and probably will always exist in Overwatch. Brawl, other terms for that you might have heard might be like Death Ball, or like just some common characters in this, in brawly team compositions would be like Reinhardt, Junker Queen, Zarya. They would be kind of brawly characters. You also have like Mei, Junkrat, Reaper, Lucio, Ana, Moira, Bap, like those sorts of characters, and they are very close ranged characters. Their whole kits revolve around being close ranged, and therefore that's the range you want to play. And you also want to play really quickly. You want to play fast because the slower you play, the more time you give them to just kind of poke you out, right? To kind of just
Yeah.
shoot at you when you can't shoot back. Now, spam is the exact opposite. Spam, you might have heard this. This is like back in Overwatch 1, you had double shield. You also have
Mm.
another term for it is poke. And spam is going to be characters like Sigma. Roadhog would be another spam character. Maybe Riss is like brawl. Riss is probably a bit more brawly. Nowadays, at least. Then, additionally in spam, you also got in DPS like any long range characters, snipers, soldier, Kree, etc. Junkrat, Pharah. Then you have supports to be like Zenyatta, Baptiste, Mercy. Now, spam, like I said before, far-ranged characters, therefore you want to play at a far range. There's no reason why, if you're a far-ranged character, like think of if you're a Widowmaker, you don't want to go and play right up next to somebody. And then
Yeah.
therefore, you want to play slowly with your fights. You want to take the fight slow because it gives you more time to shoot. And that is roughly your three different team comps. Hybrids kind of when you're kind of not on anything in particular. When you're in like just playing ranked, that's usually gonna be like a negative thing, like where you're just kind of playing a death match, like everyone's playing nothing.
Yeah.
But in certain team settings, you could probably have some hybrid comps that are actually viable. They're just not usually as widespread in ranked environments.
Uh,
Um, all right,
Good
so
to know.
so is all making sense for the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, if you have the majority of characters on your team comp that make up one of these, so if you're like 3 out of 5 on one of these, then you're kind of that comp. So like if you have 3 brawl characters and 2 dive characters, then you're kind of a brawly composite. You're really a brawl. Now, if you're kind of split up, like you're maybe on 2 brawl, 2 dive, and a spam character, well then that might be more of a hybridy like brawl dive, right? Like you're not really running to like anything in specific. So it's kind of whatever character, like how many characters you have leading up to this. So now let's get back to how does that affect when you should be swapping was your original question. Let's say you're
No.
on Sigma, who's a what would you think Sigma is in like if you had to put him in one of the 3 comps?
Oh, shit. I was gonna say spam.
Yep, pretty much. He's not a dive by any means. He does not have high mobility. He's decent brawly, but he's really good with spam. Right, that's his thing. In fact, he's probably one of the best spam tanks, at the moment.
Okay.
So therefore, if you're on Sigma and you're on spam, and your whole team is not is on brawl, like let's say your whole team is on brawl, or let's say your whole team is on dive and you're on spam, then you may not be on the right character for the situation. Or let's say that you're on a spam character like Sigma, and it's a brawl map, like think something like maybe King's Row, and
Mm.
they're running a full brawl composition, and they're just running you over. Right. So now once again, your character is not it's doable. You can overcome it. It's just going to be a handicap. You're going to be working against big obstacles because they're running the composition and the whole team comp and just the individual character, like maybe they're on Reinhardt and you're on Sigma when it's a brawl map, right? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more complex. So when you're picking a character, it's more than just, oh, they're on one character that I don't like. It's a lot of it's going to be, what map are you on? Because different characters are better on different maps. Different compositions are better on different maps. You're also going to have like, what is your team running and what are they running?
Okay.
Hmm. Did you have a question?
Uh, I guess the last question is, should I try finding a tank that fits in the brawl category, or
Div.
should I be fine with just the two?
So, Diva is divey, right? I think that's fairly
Mhm.
obvious. High mobility. She is not spammy, but she's also decent bit brawly. So same thing with like Sigma, where I said like he can work. Sigma can work with the brawl, and Diva can work with a brawl. So you have a spam character, a dive character, and they have two characters that can kind of work with a brawl. So if you want to pick up a brawl character, then go for it. But you also don't have like if you only have 3 hours a week to play, then picking up another character might not be like, you might not have the time for that. So I think that you'd be honestly fine just sticking with Diva and Sigma, and just really all I would do is just play them in those situations, and they should be solid enough picks. Like it's not unless everything is working against you, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense. Any other questions?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
All right, well, let's hop into it then. I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay. Oh god.
All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is DM usage. So when it comes to your defense matrix, and we'll keep our eye out for it as we go along here, but there's a lot of different like things that you can use defense matrix for. It's flexible. You can use it, and this is very similar way in which you would use shields as well on different characters. So if you're ever trying to, like for example, Sigma, right? This same exact thing is going to apply to Sigma as well. So when you're using defense matrix, you can use it to eat up abilities and ultimates. Those are going to be super high powered things that you can intentionally watch for. You can also the other time that you're going to go for it is like when you're playing super aggressive or trying to back out. And then really the other main thing is going to be when you or your teammates are in danger. Being low HP isn't necessarily indicative of danger, right? I can be like around this corner and 1 HP and perfectly safe, and I don't need to use defense matrix.
Okay.
Or yeah. Or alternatively, you could be fully sitting in the middle of and be in much more danger and need to use defense matrix, right? Or maybe you're full HP and they're using high noon, right? Things like that, right? So danger is not being low is not indicative of danger, but it usually does affect it. It usually does have an impact on it. Um,
Okay.
so watch for when you or your teammates are in danger and need defense matrix. And then like another thing would be like, just high volume of spam damage. Now,
Okay.
when you do not want to be using your defense matrix is against just everyday regular spam when they're just firing bullets into you, because they come out of spawn and they're just poking you a little bit, right? So like because
Mhm.
soldiers gonna have an infinite amount of clips and you only have so much defense matrix, so you want to use it when it counts, not just for every time soldier ever shoots, right? That kind of makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, same thing with Sigma Shield, right? Like you don't want to just have it up all the time because then Soldier just pokes it down, and same thing with Sombra and anyone else on their team. And then now they don't have shield for when they do use visor and when your teammate's 1 HP and things like that, right? So, management of ability, of DM usage, a lot of times it's just going to be holding on to it for when it's needed. Or if you are going to use it a little bit, like you do have a lot of resource with it. If you're going to use it, maybe just tap it up for a second or two, and then that way you have reserves. You have a lot of reserves left, but then that 1 or 2 seconds can just recharge, right? So you kind of tap down
Okay.
the first second, and you let it recharge, and you tap down again, and that can be a way to mitigate some damage without wasting the whole thing. That'll make sense.
You muted
Oh,
yourself.
hello, hello. Oh, there we go. I think I brought my hand down onto my mute button on accident. Thank you. Yeah. So that I think I finished what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Good job watching point. Okay, and then good job getting Helix there. Yeah, the one thing that I recommend if you're trying to practice going for abilities and ultimates, which are going to be a big way that you as Diva can get value, like high amounts of value when you're playing. That's going to be really one of your big like carrying potentials, is the ability to consistently shut down abilities and ultimates. So one thing that can make that easier is to think to yourself at the beginning of the round, of each round, do a quick scan of their team comp and think, and just call out in your head, what abilities and ultimates can I eat, and then consistently watch for those. So like if you were to scan through their team composition, they don't actually have too much that you can eat on a regular basis, which that's another thing that you can consider when you're on Diva. It's like, do they even have very much for me to eat at all? Right? Like that's something else to
Mm,
consider. It's not something that necessarily means that you have to swap right away, but it's something that could add on, right? If you're thinking about
yeah.
it. So if you look at their team comp, what are abilities and ults that you can eat?
I think I could only eat, like, soldiers, rockets, and maybe Moira's orb.
Yeah. So those would be like really the only abilities that you can eat. And then there's one ultimate that you can eat.
Soldiers?
Yep, visor.
Sorry.
Mhm. Yep. So, um, besides that, there's really not anything. Mercy doesn't got nothing. Doomfist doesn't got nothing. Sombra doesn't have anything. Now you can, like we said before, you can cancel Sombra's hack, but that would just be through shooting her, not DM. So yeah.
Yeah.
I would just intentionally like Helix. You can kind of pick up as it comes out. I would watch for orbs and visor, especially because orbs are usually gonna be really slow and easy to pick up, and visor is gonna be very high powered. I'm not expecting you to pick up every single Helix rocket that it ever fires, but if you're able to, then that's also gonna be good. Okay, good job not shooting at the Doom and tanking that as well. Okay. When you boost up and get on top of somebody as well, I would just add in a melee to you can add for an extra burst when you're getting up on top of somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk briefly on two things. The first thing I'd mention is I would be careful not to swap too frequently between different characters in a fight. Because if you
Mhm.
do swap between too many different characters, then you end up just tickling everybody and then nobody dies. Usually the only time there's two reasons why you'd ever swap targets, and it'll happen frequently. But just you don't want to be going from this person, that person, this person, that person. So the two reasons are, one, if they're no longer If you no longer have the opportunity, so let's say they get like run away or they're full HP, that sort of thing. Or two, you have a better opportunity, right? So somebody else is lower HP. Right? So let's say you're shooting at Mercy and then you go, oh, Moira's half HP, that sort of thing. So if you have better opportunity
Mhm.
or you lose the opportunity. Now that's the first thing. Now the second thing I think is maybe mildly more important here in this fight, and that is target priority. Now, target priority is basically just who should you be looking at, who should you be shooting at, and the general rule of thumb is you should be shooting at the easiest targets to kill, because the easiest things to kill will be the things that actually die. The hard things to kill will be hard, and therefore they'll stay alive much, much longer. Now,
Yeah.
the sorry, I dropped something. Now, in general, the tanks are by design the hardest things to kill. They have 2 to 3 times health of other characters. They have shields, armor, tanking abilities, etc. And I think you've done like a decent job of not spending too much time shooting at Doomfist, right? Like you haven't spent every single fight chasing around Doomfist, right? So you've been good on that
Yeah.
end. That's not what you would want to do, because then he's just gonna tank it and stay alive, and nothing ever happens. Um, but do note that even among the other squishier targets, there's still a hierarchy. There's still going to be who's easier and who's harder among those other characters. So,
Mhm.
once again, maybe along the same exact train of thought as I was talking about earlier, with take it to do it at the very beginning of the round, do a quick scan, look at their composition, and think to yourself, okay, who in order, who's the easiest to who's the hardest for me to kill. You can put it, if you feel like people are like really close to each other, you can put them in a tier. So like if I was looking at your composition, right, your team comp, I'd scan through it and I'd go, okay, Junkrat's probably the easiest. Then after Junkrat, it would probably come the McCree. Then after Kree, I'd maybe put Mercy and Kiriko in the same tier. And then Diva comes last. Diva's probably the hardest to kill out of them all. So
Okay.
once again, you like scan team, like the enemy team real quick, and what would you put their order in?
Um, I think I would put Soldier the easiest to kill,
Mm-hmm.
and then I I think I would put Mercy in the tier above him. I tried killing the Sombra this entire game, and she kept teleporting away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's a quality that I should be adding there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Moira Doomfist.
Mm. Yeah. So I think that like Sombra is not going to be very easy to kill. Now, um, I'll I'll clarify that what you can do with Sombra, is you can run at her and shoot at her, knowing that she's gonna get away with her TP. Because if you know that
Mhm.
she has TP, you know that she's getting away. But what you can do is go and pressure her, but don't go too deep, knowing that she's gonna TP, and then you're doing it just to get her to TP out, right? And what that does is that puts pressure
Yeah.
on her, and that's essentially like kind of like half killing her, because then you're putting her out of the fight for longer. So that's something you can do a lot of the time, but you just want to be careful about trying to go too deep in on her, like basically, I think that's something that you did this fight, was you just kind of overcommitted
Yeah.
on the Sombra, and then she TP'd away, and then now we're out of all of our abilities, and um, we're really far away from the fight, that sort of thing. Now, if I were to put in order, I think you're right, Soldier's number one. I think that Mercy and Moira maybe are about like even-ish. I think it kind of depends on the situation between the two. Like, oh yeah, of who's able to get away from you easier. They did nerf Mercy's movement, but they also giga buffed her healing. So, I
Yeah.
think I think they're about evenish. Maybe Mercy's mildly easier, and then Sombra, and then Doomfist would probably be my ordering, or even maybe even putting Sombra and Doomfist on similar tiers. If Sombra's if you have a good Sombra, she's probably not dying very often. So maybe
Yeah.
putting them on similar tiers, something like that. So in this fight, we came into it. We shot a Doomfist for a second. Then we went to Sombra, and then we went to Moira, and then we didn't really touch the Soldier or the Mercy, and then that's who we identified as the easiest characters to kill, right?
Yeah.
So just maybe a bit of target priority could change.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
You called? 완전 좋아.
This is so hard to watch.
It's all good. I've seen much worse gameplay.
Okay, that makes me feel just a little bit better.
I've coached many a bronze player.
Oh, yay!
Okay, good job eating her orb. Maybe if you're going to go on the Moira, right? Something you could possibly do is save your boosters till after she's faded, right? So if you know that she's gonna
Okay.
fade, maybe you missile her to get her to fade, and then you just chase her down with the boosters to catch up to her. So that'd be a similar thing that you could do with I'm trying to think who else. I guess I'll leave it at that. So just you can chase her down with the boosters is an idea. All right.
I should say now that I used to play a lot of Total Mayhem, so I have a really bad habit of having my finger on the rockets. I'm trying to fix it.
Well, it's
but
okay. You should
from
be
spam.
you should be using it frequently. I'll tell you if if you're using it in wrong timings. But so far they haven't been too bad. There we pressed it. I think we were just mildly late in reacting to the fact that she faded away. If
Yeah.
she was there, then that would be perfectly fine timing to use it. Really, you should be using rockets very frequently. The only thing that you can do wrong with rockets is either never using them, or using them too little, or using them when you're not on top of somebody. Like so, just always spamming with them and never using them
Yeah.
and bursting someone down. But so far, they haven't seemed too bad. Okay. All right. So a bit of awareness. Did you notice what happened there?
How many things?
Sorry, did you see it right there?
Oh, the Sombra. Oh my god.
Yeah. So they cloaked her with your boosters. So
Oh.
so that's a little bit funny. Firstly, you could kind of briefly see her on your screen, but also main thing would be audio awareness of keeping your ears open, and then also visual awareness because when
Yeah.
you hit her, you got the tick markers around your crosshair as well, right? So visual, audio.
Okay.
Just that'd be awareness, right? Just knowing, and then you can probably pressure. Oh, there you noticed. There you go. I think you heard her footsteps afterwards. Something you can do with Sombra is just shoot. Just like, you have an unlimited amount of ammo. Sometimes you can just kind of spray around where you think that she's at, and that can decloak her and force her to either, just back out and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, notice how we're kind of wasting up all the DM on nothing in particular, and then now it's all gone for the fight.
Oh god.
Okay. So with Diva Bomb, I like the placement there. You're throwing it in a good placement. Let's see, do we get anything with it? Okay, you got to kill. So I like the placement. That's good placement. I think timing-wise, I might let the fight develop a hair more. So a lot of the times, Diva Bomb is probably best used in like a mid-fight setting unless you know that they don't know where your bomb's coming from. Because the problem with using your bomb at the very beginning of the fight, or even before the fight begins, generally speaking, across like every ultimate, most ultimates in the game, start of the fight is the best time to use your ultimate. Mid fight's usually okay. Late fight is situational, And then in between fights, which includes kind of before the fight begins, that's very rare do you want to be ulting. Now there,
Okay.
when you just ulted, that was like probably in the middle. It was like right before the fight began / when the fight was beginning. It was like the very, very, very beginning of the fight. And D.Va, the reason why that might not always get kills is because of the fact that they're gonna have all of their abilities with them. They're
Mhm.
going to they have no distractions, so they're all gonna be able to put their full attention into watching your bomb and dodging it. Whereas if you do it in the closer to like the start to mid of fight, right? Somewhere around that range, then they've used their abilities and they also are going to be distracted by the fight, so they're not all going to be able to put their full attention into dodging the bomb. So that's the idea behind it. So you still get a kill. The placement was really good. Maybe timing wise, we could change it up a hair.
I'm warning so much.
All good, all good. Good job.
Yeah.
I'd probably look to contest Tygon there. Just make sure you're up here. I think it's a good idea. Just keep him off of it primarily. Oh,
Okay.
almost. Very nice. Thank you. I'm not sure if we canceled boosters there or not, or if it just ran out. Yeah. I think you cancel because it had a second left, so maybe canceling it just a tad bit early. And then that we
Okay.
possibly could have chased her a bit longer with it there. Watch the DM usage.
I never noticed how much I use it.
It's really
Oh
just
god.
oh, and then now that's a situation, right? Right there, that's a situation to use
Yeah.
DM, right? But notice how we're kind of using it a lot, and then as soon as Soldier's visoring and we see him visoring, we actually don't DM it, right? Just watch your
Mhm.
DM usage here when we turn on him. We turn, we use it for a second, and then we stop, and then we use it for another second. It's kind of off of him here while we're using it, and then we stop again, right? So we actually kind of like tap it on him instead of just holding a DM in his face.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I would maybe use if you're planning on boosting at somebody, right, and getting aggressive. That's a good thing,
Mhm.
but maybe use missiles when you're a tad bit closer to them, when you can be much more accurate with them, because just at a
Yeah.
range they're gonna be much more likely to miss when you're firing them from a range. So if you just wait till you get a tad bit closer, then more of them will probably land, and you'll get more value
Yeah.
out of the missiles. That's a bit more of a minor point, though. Yeah, whole team's dead there. Oh, good. Nice. Let's rewatch this for a second because it was going good and then it kind of fell apart. So let's watch it around here. We're chasing her. As soon as we start missing some of those, I think that we probably just let her get out. We also end up canceling boosters again there, which ends up kind of putting us in a rough spot. Once again, notice you cancel boosters there when maybe you can use the full duration to get up to like the high ground or something like that. I think sometimes you're just canceling it a little bit too early, maybe out of habit, and not using the full extent of them. So sometimes if you're just trying to get in like booster damage on somebody, you can boost at them and then even just turn around and not need to cancel it. And I mean, it's kind of depends on the situation. Here once again, like I said, notice how you fly back and you're trying to get away. And when you fly back, firstly, you should probably maybe look to get like up and over the wall, or secondly, here once again, it looks like it's canceled like a bit early. At that point,
Yes.
it's lost. Good.
I know that I usually do that because, when I'm flying at somebody, I could just soar past them and then I have to turn around.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know for especially console players that it takes so long to turn around. Should I increase my, shit, I forgot what it's called. Makes you turn faster.
Sensitivity.
Help. Thank you. Should I increase that, or
if you're having trouble making turns, then I would mess around with it until it's comfortable, and you shouldn't be uncomfortable to turn around because there's a lot of situations in the game where you will need to turn around. But at the same time, you shouldn't be sacrificing your ability to like track people and shoot them for that ability. So it's hard to say. You kind of got to figure out like what's your limit on like how on with your joysticks. How fast can you go while still being able to like be able to track still. Okay, here we kind of use we saw firstly Soldier. We haven't really touched them all game. Maybe Soldier would be the easier opportunity there. But then we fly after the Mercy. Once we get on the Mercy, here we lose track, and then we use the missiles before we even reacquire the target. Just make sure you're using the missiles after you reacquire Mercy, not before you find out where she's at.
Really bad.
So
yeah. Oh god.
So you boost up with it. I think here you bail. I think it's okay to bail because people did kind of run away afterwards. But then the problem is that afterwards we just plop it when I don't think anybody's there to even get hit.
Yeah.
Mercy kind of just flew back into it. Mercy probably could have flown back out. Like Mercy could have just turned around and flown to anybody behind her or gone around cover pretty easy. So Mercy kind of walked into it. But possibly there once again just maybe waiting an extra second for more people to be out in the open because they're going to try to push cart anyways. Yep. Good job pushing her out. That's kind of what you want to do with her. Very nice. Oof on the missiles though. Missiles kind of used after she was already gone. so here shooting stuff. Firstly, we're trying to shoot the TP from like really far away. Probably just get a bit closer, and then also you keep shooting even after Sombra gets around the corner here, and that's just gonna slow down your approach.
Yeah.
So just be careful of that. Here is another example, like where maybe if you see that she's 1 HP, remember that your thrusters do damage. Maybe you just, because you don't want to end up here, because look at where their whole team's at.
Yeah.
I think we're being maybe minorly unaware of where their team's at, because their whole team's here, and we're kind of just going and ending our thrusters right in the middle of their team, right? That's not really what we want to do.
Mhm.
But she's 1 HP, so maybe what you could be doing is just boost down, swipe to the right, and boost back up. That sort of thing.
Mhm.
But instead we kind of cancel it and end boosters here. Then she gets healed, and then we're kind of just not in a great spot. Oh, somehow you make it out though. All right, they let you go. Okay, here once again, awareness.
Yeah.
So if we see the Mercy, because you can see her wings, you can see the fact that she's rezzing. Additionally, like we were kind of talking about earlier with we've talked about this a lot so far. Team composition dictates play style. You're gonna be playing differently, up against different comps, and when you're playing with different comps, you never ever need to watch dead bodies if they don't get a Mercy. But once they have a Mercy, you should probably start to keep tabs on dead bodies, because what you can do is you can boop her off. Like as diva, you can just go and boost at her and boop her off, and potentially even get a free pick out of it, right? Because you got to think of it this way: if we let Mercy get away with it, then that's free value for them. If we pay attention, then that's free value for us, because it's basically an extra pick, right? You can a lot of times kill the Mercy. So here, maybe acquiring the Mercy a bit late. We're kind of swapping over a bit late. Good job, good squish though.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, I think we kind of got stuck there.
Yeah.
Once again, notice how we're kind of using missiles like from really far away before we're kind of really bursting someone. A lot of times missiles can be used as like kind of the way to burst someone, and we're just really far away. It's not going to be as effective as maybe like if you're trying to, finish off the Mercy there.
Yeah.
Might be a bit more effective. Kind of also get baited back to point. So we were following the half HP Mercy. We don't have fly, but you end up getting like baited back to point with the Doomfist and the Sombra, whereas you could probably just like, you have boosters in 2 seconds. You can probably just like, she's coming out of one of those doors. Additionally, there's still these guys up on high ground.
I thought she like flew to Doomfist, which was in that corridor, so I thought it wasn't worth going to.
Oh, okay, then
I'm not sure if I saw that wrong.
Then that's not being aware where Doomfist is at then, because you did see Doomfist fly over here. That's what we turned for, right?
Yeah.
Once again, kind of wasting the missiles after Sombra's already out.
Mhm.
Pretty good timing on the ults. I guess let's see here what happens with it. Their Mercy was like half HP. We kind of give up like so I guess I'm gonna recall it like a little bit. Pay attention to, once again, awareness. Pay attention. Keep your eyes open and watch for health bar, because if you see Mercy's low, then you can finish off that kill before you go for your ult. But ulting gives her time to run away. Then they all kind of run for cover. I would maybe look to because they are gonna have to come to cart. Someone has to touch. I would maybe look to use squish
Yeah.
for when they come back to touch, potentially. Try to get the Moira who ran into the room, something like that. You know, DM, a lot of, probably want to use a lot of DM here. Because now we're
Yeah.
definitely in danger, right? Okay, so let's talk about a bit of, we're going to talk about two things here. So let's talk about crosshair placement. Have you heard that term before?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it means.
All good. So crosshair placement is basically using your brain to help your aim. It's placing your best place possible as possible. Just going to be make for easier shots. Now, in general, the best place to be aiming is at in the first step to crosshair placement is aiming at head level, because headshots do a lot more damage than body shots. Generally speaking, headshots do 2 times damage across most characters. I can go tap, 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 6 taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? So 6 versus 10.
Yeah.
You do it, and then I think that, if I go even closer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taps versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? So it is double damage. So you want to be aiming for double damage, and if you're aiming head level, this means much less adjustment. If I'm aiming down here, then the heads I have to go up to the right, up to the left, right? It's a lot more adjustment to hit those. Now, if I'm just shooting down corridors, shooting into shields, let's just say I'm spamming, I'm doing my thing. Right? I'm walking around, shooting down corridors, shooting into shields, shooting into people. Well, if I'm aiming down here, I just naturally hit body shots. But if I'm aiming up at head level and just keep it here, then now I'm doing all the same stuff, aiming down corridors, shooting into shields, except for now, I'm just naturally hitting headshots instead, just because that's where I'm aiming. Second step to crosshair placement is going to be pre-aiming, aiming where you know people are going to be. So bot's top right, I'm going to pre-aim head level top right. So as soon as the bot turns the corner, it's very little adjustment. I already knew where he was. Bot's on left, I pre-aim left. So when I turn the corner here, very easy shots to land. Already aiming straight there. They're on a slope. So the same way I'd look down on a torb and up on a tank, I'm going to look down on these guys so that when I turn the corner here, I'm already... Oh, they're running away. Oh, they're all running away. So that when I look down, I'm just already aiming at the head, right? Just makes it much easier for yourself. So that's crosshair placement enough. Then.
Yeah. Can I get a picture of those crosshair settings?
Okay, sure. I don't know. Yeah, like this it's a pretty unique one. This is my alt account.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a fine one.
No, I just my TV, ever since I redid my room, my TV is so far away from me, and I can barely see my crosshair.
Gotcha.
And so if it doesn't work, then I can always switch it to something else.
Yep. So this is circle, and then you just make circle big.
Thank you.
No problemo.
Okay, so do I only have 20 minutes with you, or 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 more minutes, pretty much. Did you have a question about something?
No, I guess I don't think there's enough time to review the Sigma one. Can I get any more tips on him?
On him, you said?
Yeah.
I guess really quickly we can cover some general stuff with them, but I don't really know too much in particular of what you struggle with. Shield, same thing as we were talking about with DM, right? A lot of the same stuff, right? Use it when you need to, not when no reason to, right? But pay attention to the times that you do need it, because it is important. Place it on corners, because then half the shield can be on the corner. Play off of corners as tanks. Means half the shield doesn't get destroyed, less surface area, stays up longer. It encourages you and your teammates to play around cover, which is going to be really good for you if you're playing around cover a lot.
Yeah.
Open up the fight with a grasp if you're able to, if people are shooting at you, so that you can kind of use it more during the fight. Make sure you're using grasp when people are looking and shooting at you. If you're using it when nobody's looking at you or shooting at you, then you're not going to be getting anything with it.
Yeah.
And remember that it's going to give you a lot of health if you are landing it correctly. I believe they changed it so I can rock and, oh, I messed that up. Oopsie. I think they changed it so you can rock and double tap now, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me check that. So I think you can rock, shot. Yep, okay, they did change that. Yep.
Okay.
So you can do rock, shot. That's your basic combo to get a kill, right? Is shot, or rock, shot, right? Very easy.
Yeah.
In your flux, you're going to flux, try to use it when people group up, but don't expect them to group up after you flux. Use it when they are grouped up.
Yeah.
When you use it, you have basically, you can go for one shot in the air, one shot on the ground, one volley in the air, one volley when they hit the ground when they're kind of stunned on the ground. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, let's get 2 people here. If I can pull them up. Uh-oh. No, I failed that. Well, don't do what I did. Yeah, just don't do that. Oopsie. All right, well, you kind of get what I'm saying. You can do, when you pull them up, you can get one volley in, then they're going to slam, and then you can get a second volley in, and that means that you can, on squishies, you can get a potential of 2 kills with most ultimates, unless more people are low HP, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
I have a problem with fighting people who get like really like too close up to me.
Yeah,
It's
look to
hard
keep
that I
distance.
can barely aim, and then, you know, his bullet things are really weird.
Yeah.
Is there a way that I can like win a fight when someone's that close to me and they like I can't get farther away from them?
Save rock. Make sure you have that. Rock's gonna be a big way to do that. And then also, like, if you're talking about like a tank, like if Reinhardt's getting on top of you, you kind of just lose that. So you need to be putting space in between yourselves, so that you're able to keep your preference, which is a mid range, not not being up on top of them. So look to keep kiting him and playing away from him. Take high grounds. High grounds are gonna be a great way to do that, right? That's sort of idea.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Really quickly, application. How do you put stuff into practice? You're gonna be putting all this stuff into practice really the same way you work on anything, and that is that while you're playing, you're going to be actively thinking and focusing on the things you're trying to work on. That means that you're not going to autopilot, and you're not going to just purely play to win, but you're going to play to improve. And what that will look like within your gameplay is you're going to pick something out. So let's say DM usage, and you're going to think to yourself while you're playing, DM. And when you think to yourself constantly DM while you're playing, well, your DM use is probably going to be a bit better, right? You're probably not going to spam it as much. You're probably going to be watching, things to use it for. And therefore, it's going to be better. If you do that for a long enough period of time, it forms it as a habit. And after that, just move on to the next thing to work on. Last thing would just be everything all at the same time. Instead, pick a category of things to work on, or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. All that makes sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick review. Running low on time here, but let's do a quick wrap-up review, main points and stuff. DM usage, right? Same thing I just said. Intention, scan their comp. Think about abilities and ults. Use it for when teammates or yourself are in danger. Wasn't needed, right? So just be careful with that. Missiles, use it when you're on top of people. Use it when you're a little bit, when you can actually catch up to people. Don't use it on the Summer or the Moira who you know are TPing away in half a second.
Oh.
Boosters, be careful not to you can definitely cancel them if you're, but right. So be careful and make sure you're not boosting yourself into the game. Be careful of that. Overall ability usage, probably, let's put it at like higher end of a medium. Ult usage, I think placement, like usage of it was pretty solid. Like you had the good techniques down for it. I think timing wise, you want to look to use open and they can't really run away. If they have cover, then your ult doesn't do anything. You also usually, if at all possible, you want to use it when they don't know where you're at. Or so either when they don't know where you're at and they don't know where it's coming from, or if they can't get away at all. That sort of thing are going to be the best times to be using your ultimate. Use it more towards the start or mid-fight. Overall, though, like higher end of a low to medium, not near. Then mechanics, target priority, right? Shoot at the easiest things, not the hardest things. You know, scan their team comp, think who's easiest to hardest. We didn't really shoot at soldier at all that game. So just for those your targets and don't overcommit on like the Sombra and things like that. Make sure not swap target too fast. Keep crosshair placement for easy headshots. Maybe some other things here and there that I forgot about. Don't hold down shots if someone runs around the corner.
Yeah.
Probably like a medium priority, maybe slightly higher. Honestly, we didn't talk too much on positioning. Take high grounds as Sigma, play your distance. On both characters, they're using cover, but like I said, we didn't discuss too much on position. Oh, kind of a medium for you to work on.
Yeah.
Then awareness, pay attention to your health, pay attention to where are your teammates positioned on the map, where are the enemies positioned on the map. Keep your ears open so you know when like the Sombra, when you like look that Sombra. Pay attention to enemy health bars. You should be pressing tab at a very minimum once in between every single fight, because that gives you a lot of info. Did you swap characters? Did they swap characters? What ults do you guys have? And like we said, team comp dictates play style, right? So pay attention to what team comp they're running, that sort of thing. Overall, there are a lot of things in awareness. I think that one was also maybe like higher end of a medium as well. So to put that all in order, number one, I think I'm gonna put out ability usage because I think that's the most immediately practical one. And then number two is awareness. Number 4 is positioning, and then number 5. Any questions?
I have like an unrelated question.
Sure.
About the rank thing, I brought it up in like a message about how it was my first time placing, and I placed in Gold 2, but my friends kept telling me that since it was my first time placing in Overwatch 2, that it would be that it like lowers you. Is that true?
It's because true. The real reason is because they do like a soft rank reset for each season. They're getting rid of that in the next season, in season 4. But for the past 3 seasons, they've been giving like a soft reset. So basically, your hidden MMR remains the same or similar, maybe lowering a little bit. But then your displayed SR, your displayed rank, that will be lowered by like a whole rank or so, potentially. Sometimes it's even a little bit more, and then you kind of just grind it back up, and a lot of people at the same rank, of the same hidden MMR. Yeah, it's kind of convoluted, but like yeah, for the most part, it's they got it right.
Okay. If I do raise up in rank, am I supposed to send you a picture?
You don't have to. It's up to you.
I can't. Yeah. Just like, I don't care either way. You know what? If I do, I'll be proud. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Kimi update. Like, I'd be happy to hear. Like, glad for the updates. So I mean, like, just feel free to over. Send a quick picture and say, hey, ranked up, and yeah, it's always good to hear. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, recording.